On a-tu l'air comme une gang de Itrema? Salut! Salut tous les Fournier, tous les Lianne, tous nos amis. Hello everyone, all our friends. Holy smokes, I'm so nervous. I'm so overjoyed that you're all here, that this is finally happening. And I know everybody in this room. Ooh. I do want to acknowledge the presence of a few people. One, ma tante Hélène et mon oncle Nab, nos aînés. Les derniers Fournier actuellement, de le côté de mon père, the last aunt on the side of the Fourniers. And we're so honored that you're here, ma tante and mon oncle. Lianne was born March 20th, and so was ma tante Hélène. Not the same year, obviously. So one of the things that Richard was wondering about, why does she have so many names, right? It's Lianne, Thérèse, Hélène, Marie Fournier. Well, Lianne was an accident name that my dad didn't remember what her name was supposed to be, so he just said, call her Lianne. Because our cousin Diane was born ahead of her, and that was the name they had picked, so he had to change it. I'm popping a lot. Sorry there, Tom. And so Mom named her, well, Dad named her Lianne. Tante Thérèse is Mom's sister. That's her godmother. Who they're in. All the Boulians are out of town, like they live out of province, so there's no way they could make it here today. But we do have another aîné, mon oncle Jude, and his kids are here. Puis les enfants mon oncle, right? Jeanette's late. She's got to work till 5, poor sweetie. And puis Kristen is here with us. So we're very thrilled for that. So then, because Lianne was born on the 20th, she called her Hélène, and then Nadi, well, I think it's for Mom, but we all know it's for that other person. All us Christians know that, or Catholics. So I was going to acknowledge Carole Valois, the only towner here, because you're all from out of town. So thanks for coming. But she couldn't make it. Carole Valois couldn't make it tonight. She was feeling sick. I also want to acknowledge the presence of Angel and Daryl, who were Lianne's friends, and they had a memorial for Lianne on the 4th of June, and it was all of Lianne's friends that we didn't know about, that didn't know us really, me and Joss anyway. And so we had this party out on their land. So it was such a beautiful ceremony. So I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Angel and Daryl. I'm going to need a box of Kleenex for all kinds of reasons. The first one is, holy schnoot! Oh, I am boiling. Schnitz. I'd like to thank, first of all, Richard. Without Richard, we would not have all of this. So, Richard worked tirelessly for both of these events, so it's unbelievable the amount of work that it is. I'd also like to thank Daniel, my husband. Maybe you should stand up. Maybe people don't know who you are. You're always gone. Danielle cut the grass, trimmed the trees, piled up the wood, hunted down all the stuff you see that doesn't look like it was rented. J'aimerais remercier Lianne Fournier, who wired us up. So without Lianne, we wouldn't be all lit up. Thank you to Savannah for creating the Evite that I had no idea what I was doing. So you probably got the Evite either wrong, late, 500 times, or who knows. I sure couldn't figure it out. Yeah, but people are here, look at that. I'd like to thank our sound guy, Tom. He's so patient. And all the people in the band, because we know you could be somewhere else, right? So the band folk are here. Jill will be introducing them probably as we go, I hope, anyway. And I'd like to thank the family, all my family right here, the nephews, the nieces, my daughter, my brother's sister, and my in-laws, Harry and Carolyn and Sandy, for coming out and helping us set up the tent and the stuff in the tent, not the tent itself. Can you imagine? Probably would fall down. Parking, all these other little funny details, and trying to keep me calm all this time. I'd like to thank the caterers who are way in the back. Thank you to the caterers. They're working so hard. They're called Ludwig's, and they did both events. All right, just a few housekeeping things. There's, which is silly, but I'm going to say them anyway. There's garbage on the outside, so just be conscious this is where I live. Bathrooms over there by the garage, but if you have small children or a bit elderly and would need to go indoors, rather, go right ahead. Just make sure the doors are closed. We do have 2 cats, but I think they're terrified and hiding under the beds right now. Just be aware the limit of the property, in case you decide you're going to go for a walk, is the tree line and the dike. We did set up some chairs, I think, on the dike for the sunset, because Lianne really liked to sit by the sunset, and it's going to be probably spectacular, because who would have known it was going to be such a beautiful day. Lianne, thank you. If you notice, there's lots of gardens and things. If you feel like pulling out some weeds, go ahead. There's some gloves in the garage. I could tell you I'm not going to do that my whole retirement. And Danielle mentioned something about wood. We got a lot of wood, so you might want to talk to Danielle and negotiate taking some wood away with you. We're asking you to smoke outside the tent. There are cans over here if you want to grab them and move them around wherever you might be, or just throw them in the fire pit, your butts. And then if you're going to smoke some wacky weed also out there, and be aware of the children. The fires will eventually be lit. I don't know if we're going to light all 3 areas, but that depends on how cold, hot, cool, or what Danielle feels like doing. So we're going to have this little presentation. And then we'll eat, and then we'll jam, and then we'll eat again, and then we'll sit by the fire. That's the night. If you applaud for every single thing, you're going to be tired. Oh my God. Oh. I'm so hot. Oh, I'm so hot. Okay, so I'm going to start with a little acknowledgement. That's what I forgot. We're going to acknowledge we're on Treaty 1 land. And because we know this, à cause de mon oncle Napoléon, notre ancêtre était un Mohawk, and Kate helped me with the pronunciation in actual Mohawk again. Kanyen Kahaka. That's how you would say it in what we call Mohawk. Kayen Kahaka. That's our people. So we're going to acknowledge that. And I'm going to have a little dedication here. So Lianne was an idea hoarder. She journaled, she drew, she recorded this and that. She kept all her letters and notes throughout her life. You never know when you're going to need a lyric. or an idea. Her head was full of poetry, art, tunes, images, harmony, and instrumentation. I admired her ability to get it all on paper. We are so lucky to have the legacy of her music and her genius. So I would like to welcome onto the land as well our loved ones, Reinhard, Hilda, Peter, and Jerry. Most recently, Al. Roger, Simone, Alain, Brenda, et Geneviève. Sorry. Jerry, Mark, and our darling Mary, our second mum. Emily and Murray, and Marie, Paul, Robert, and Lianne. And I know everyone here, absolutely all of us, have lost someone. And I want you to think about Lianne's last song. We're going to play it at the end of this all, so that's why we have Kleenex for you all. But in her last song, so much courage and thought went into what would it be like in the afterlife when your time on this earth is done. And she wrote so many beautiful words. I'm not going to recite the whole thing, but I'm going to pick out the ones that strike me. And for you to think about this when you think of your loved ones. You'll find me in the moonlight as I cross the sky. We are the trees, we are the seas, the earth, the air, the stars. Nature's magic leads the way. We are the sounds, we are the scents, the touch, the taste, the sights. Take my hand and fly away. It's time to leave this world today. It's time to journey home. So we're going to take a minute for each of you to welcome your folks into this beautiful space so we can all celebrate together. We're going to just take a minute because I probably need it the most. All right. So right now is the part where the siblings are going to talk about Lianne. So I'm going to ask Jill, did you want to go first? Where is he? Oh. So did you want to go first and then I go next? We're going to go from me to you, from you to me to Joss. Okay. You're stuck now. Opposite order.
Let's have a hand for Lucille. I was going to write something down, but I forgot to do it. So I'm just going to do stand-up comedy. I'm just going to, a little story. I said one last time. I didn't prepare for this, but there's reverb on this sucker here, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, deep woods off. Oh, it's not that much reverb, though. Okay. Deep woods off. Thank you, Winnipeg. Okay. Anyway, Lianne was funny. She made me laugh. She's one of the few folks who could get me going and make me laugh. So she got my humor early on, and you might see some similarities when we get going for those of you who know us. And she's pretty organized. She's got her stuff together. Oh, that's better. All of a sudden it dried up, and actually I didn't mind the. No, I'm kidding. I don't want the reverb. No, I do not. No. Anyway, but she can also get caught up in stuff. When we would get going chatting about stuff, we would sort of get focused on things, and then that's all we would think about. And so we did. Dave, do you guys know Dave Holland, the famous bass player, jazz, great musician? Anyway, he was playing at the Dakota in Minnesota, and we're both big fans of Dave Holland. He was a big idol, he's an influence in my playing, and he was actually, that was one of the few folks I went up to after he did his set, and I was just like, Mr. Holland, you're so good. Can I have your autograph? I love you. I follow you everywhere. And he was like, and he was like, kind of weirded him out a bit. He was quite gracious. Anyway, long story short, please, we went out there. Everything was fine. We got there and saw the concert. Was great, and we drove back. And instead of, it's quite easy to get there and back, but we ended up zigging one way instead of zagging. And we're driving, we're talking. And we're talking about the show and all this stuff, and I had a gig that night with Greg McPherson. I don't know if you guys know Greg, but I'm totally name dropping right now. And anyway, we were talking, and I turned right, which meant we were going east, and I don't know why I turned right. I think I turned in somewhere to get gas, and we ended up going wherever I turned, and my dyslexia kicked in, I guess. And we're talking. She didn't notice either, and this is very interesting that she wasn't as on her usual astute level of where to go and so on and so forth. And we're talking in about probably 2 hours of driving. We actually didn't know we were going the totally wrong way. We were supposed to go here. We're over here. I think we're in Wisconsin. I get pulled. I'm not kidding. I get pulled over. I get a speeding ticket. I had to pay it right there on the spot. I'm like, but before we got the speeding ticket, actually, Lianne goes, the sun's setting. The sun is over there. We're going. Gilles, we're going the wrong way. We are going the wrong way. And she's like panicking, and I'm like, what? And then okay. And then by this time I was speeding up to. I turned around and I was like bolting it back to get back on track. And then I got a speeding ticket, a very expensive one. And then we pulled over somewhere because at a tourist stop, a rest stop. And I was calling Greg because at the time we didn't have cell phones at the time. This is when the steam engine was just coming out. So I ended up calling Greg, and Greg, man, I don't think I'm not gonna make the gig tonight. I'm like 2-3 hours away, and we're gonna be we're off track. What I didn't get into details like I'm getting into now. And he said, "Okay, I'll work it out. We'll work it out." And then Lianne comes up. Gilles, the car's on fire. It's smoking. I'm like, what? Are you serious? And I'm there. Okay, Greg, I gotta go. Thanks, buddy. Sorry. Click. A payphone. That's what it was. That's what I was using. I get to the car, and sure enough, there's just steam coming out. It was an 88 Toyota Corolla all-wheel drive. Great car, except when they break down and the hose goes. And the hose that went, which I found, was in the back, and you have to sort of be basically a contortionist to get to it. And I didn't have my gym suit on, and I was not stretched, and somehow I managed to get it out. I asked the trucker for some tools, got the hose out, put gaffer tape on it, managed to get it back in, and filled it up with water, and we drove back home, and we were just going, what just happened? Like, what was that all about? How did this happen? And I'm looking at Lianne, I'm going, like, I'm surprised you did not pick up on this. You know, and she's like, well, you know, we were caught up in what we were doing at the moment. So all that to say, it made for a good story. I hope you enjoyed that story. It was probably long and drawn out, but like I'm describing it, Lucille's going to wrap it up. Oh, no. Nah. Okay, I'll just cap it off. We get back on track, get home, and then, so now it's a story. The kindergarten one was when Lianne's first day of going to kindergarten. I told this on June 4th. When we did this for musician friends of hers and that, because there was just so many people to invite and celebrate. We thought we'd do it in 2 steps like this. And so Lianne, it was her first day of kindergarten. I remember my first day of kindergarten. When I went there, I was screaming, I want to go home. And the cop happened to be visiting. Hey, folks, I'm a policeman, and this is what I do. And he was trying to calm me down. I hid where all the coats were, and I was screaming. And he came out to try to calm me down and say, hey, little boy, everything's fine. And I said, I want to go home. And I kicked him in the shin. So that was my first run-in with the law. So I remembered my experience. So when Lianne was going for her first day in the morning or whatever, I said, you know, I'm going to hide you. I'm going to hide you. You don't want to go. And she's like, I'm scared. I don't want to go. So I actually tried to hide her that day, and so I'll watch guard here. And then, of course, they found us downstairs somewhere, and she went to kindergarten, and I think she turned out okay. That's that story. Thanks. Anyway, there's a gazillion stories. I'm talking off the top of my head. I love my sister. I miss her so much, and there's so much I can talk about, but there's other folks who are going to say stuff. So I'm going to leave it at that. And she left us with so much. It's so rewarding to know her, as you guys know, and she left us with so much good music and stuff, and just rediscovering it at this point is been tons of fun, but it's been very emotional for me. But I'm gonna probably break down later at some point, just burst out in tears over stuff. But that's natural, that's normal. So don't hold anything back, folks, because I don't want to be the only one crying here. Anyway, love you, Lianne, miss you, and we're gonna get the other siblings up here to say something. Thanks.
I wrote mine down. Well, some of this was said at the 4th, and I wrote her a letter. It was very long, so if I had read it to her, she would have been mad at me. 5 minutes. That's all you got. But this one's shorter, and it has some different things from the 4th. It has some of the same things, so sorry, Angel and Daryl. Or anybody else that was there on the 4th. So this was my letter to her. I wasn't able to read it to her, and because I wrote one for Rob, and I was actually able to read that one to Rob, but not this one. Oh, by the way, you better be beside someone who speaks French, because I'm going to mix the languages for once. I always figured you were going to be the one stuck talking about me someday. I spent this summer saying to your photo, there's one of the photos where she's like, kind of like, heh. And I have that in my room, my living room, and I kept saying, fudgicle buster, like my mom used to do. You're my little sister, ma petite sœur. We always had a room together, and for a time I took you everywhere. Our most favorite family story is when you were born. Mum said, "Voot!" Mum spoke in sound effects. She just slipped out. Easiest birth ever. Realized that Mum was only 4'11" 3/4, and there was Joss, there was Rob, then there was the mystery baby, and then me. She was bedridden with me, and then there was Jill, and then Lianne. Then Mum would start her story about her severe gallbladder attack and needing a major operation. And she never got to finish that story because Papa continuait avec comment il passait son temps à nous visiter après le travail parce qu'il avait besoin de nous distribuer un peu partout parmi la famille. Gilles et Robert étaient chez ma tante Annette. Moi, j'étais chez les Gendrons. Joss and Lianne were at Yvonne's and Guy's. Pat was a toddler. Jocelyn was 5. And Yvonne was pregnant early days with Kristen, taking care of you, Lianne, a newborn. One of your favorite teases from Mum was, "Yeah, that's what's wrong with me. I was never breastfed." I remember all of us being in our house on Heather Road with a crib and 2 double beds in one room. I remember lots of joy and a garden that we raided for carrots and strawberries and tomatoes. I remember bath time. We had bath time. And when we were done, we were in our undies, and we went out to the car to play driving. And there it was one of those stick shift cars, and I accidentally threw the car into neutral, and somehow we ended up going down the driveway. And Dad comes running out of the house, and we're screaming, and he's trying to open the doors, which we had locked. And finally, one of us figured out that we should unlock the door. And Dad stopped the car just in time from heading into the neighbor's front steps. We seemed to get in quite a bit of trouble. For sure, our most favorite house, though, was the one on Erie Bay. Da-da-da-da. We'd always go that. Erie Bay. Da-da-da-da. I was 5, that meant you were 3, and for some strange reason, I remember we were running around the house playing in all the closets. They were empty. That's probably why. But the best place was that basement. It was our neighborhood clubhouse. We had mattresses to build forts, 2 old-fashioned roller washing machines to play bumper cars. We'd climb the pipes. We had sheets and blankets to make forts and have seances. Even when Dad finished our basement, you and I ended up in the same room. Everybody else had their own room. That new basement, however, had a stereo and Rob's record collection. And we would dance and sing and have parties, tons of parties. We spent our time at the Monaco Rec Center. We were in Baton. We went to Saturday matinees, played in the park, swam in the pool, skated on the rinks, and it seemed that we were destined to do a ton of things together. During our preteen years, well, let's say once Joss turned 12 and was our designated parent, Mom and Dad seemed to be working almost all the time, and we pretty well much were on our own. We all sort of taught and fought and learned from each other and with each other. You often said, we brought you up. And I'm quoting, you said, which is another reason why I'm kind of screwed up. True, everything was not rosy. Yep, but we had a lot of fun, laughter, and grew up to be pretty okay people. Eventually, you were pretty miserable with the whole make-up teenager thing, and you looked up to me, which was really weird for me. And you asked me for guidance. I mean, from 14 to 17, all I wore were hoodies and jeans to go with my long, greasy hair and my overbite. And I thought, what? What do you want me to teach you? In any case, you hung out and came with me almost everywhere, and if you could. And then our parents went a little bankrupt, and those were the years we began to move. Your grade 12 year came, and Kristen and other friends helped you through, and I went to university. 18 through your 20s were your years of great adventures. Wilderness Corps, Jeunesse Canada Monde, off to Morocco and other great countries and other organizations. And at age 22, off you went to Europe on your own, from Belgium to France to Germany to India to then Nepal. And when you were in India, there was the Bhopal explosion, and Indira Gandhi's assassination. We were pretty worried. We would hear from you if you sent us a postcard or a letter via snail mail, which was the mode of communication at the time. And at one point, you sent us a photo of you and a group of people, and you were bald and dressed in Indian garb and all tanned, and you wrote on the back, "I'm fine, everything's fine, yeah, I'm enjoying my trip." And Dad said, "Which one's Lianne?" And I said, "The one with the guitar." You came home affected by the extreme poverty you'd seen and the materialism we lived in. You didn't stay long with Mom and Dad. More adventures, living in a co-op, living with your cousins and other various friends in Toronto and other cities, biking from Vancouver to Winnipeg, and then, like Gilles, you left for Antigonish, Nova Scotia, to get your bachelor's and honors degree in music jazz studies. A kind of rift started to happen between us. You said to me many times, "You choose your friends, not your family." And I was a teacher, and you were working at being part of the Winnipeg music scene. And you had all kinds of groups you worked with. Tri-Vocals, your number one group, and then Pearl Drivers, Weird Sisters, Welfare Starlets, solo gigs. And you even made a go at stand-up comedy. You supplemented your artistic revenue with substitute teaching in music. Those were the years of mistaken identity. People would tell me how great I sang the other night. Which is like not possible. I felt that it got harder and harder for you to hang out with family. Everyone was getting more and more settled with children. I even had a baby. And after a few hours and a meal, you would often leave and finish the evening with friends. I managed over my career to become a music teacher, which for me is a real irony because I have about 1/10 of the talent of you and Gilles, and no music in my education degree, none whatsoever. And over those many years, you were subbing, and I spent a lot of time trying to convince you to get your teaching certificate. I wanted you to earn the salary you deserve and still be able to gig. Those were the years you were mistaken for me. On your own, you managed to buy a house, live frugally your whole life. During the dark years of Mom's, Rob's, and Dad's illnesses, you got that teaching degree. We lost half our family, and there was tons of hurt and tons of love too. Life moves on, though. You had losses within your friendships and moved to a nicer area and connected and married Richard. To yours and our great joy, you made an album and invited us over to your place and partied with us. And we all went to the nephews and nieces' weddings and celebrated the arrival of Zoe and had Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays, celebrations, get-togethers, street hockey, tobogganing, campfires, and then COVID shut it all down. You talked me off a few teaching ledges during COVID. We sent each other material. You're quite happy to be able to work from home as you pleased. I was much less so. So the light for you was most definitely Richard. He is more than wonderful. Sorry. He is and will always be your and our hero and champion. Every time I read this, I cry, sorry. I can't imagine what we would have done without you, Richard. There's no amount of gratitude and love that could ever be measured here. You're simply amazing. J'ai vraiment pensé que nous avions frappé le quotient du cancer. Je ne comprends vraiment rien. Maman adorait la terre, la vie, les gens, ses enfants, ses petits-enfants. She was a source of absolute joy. Rob was really just enjoying his life. He played for 3 or 4 hockey and baseball teams. He was connecting with his son. He was traveling and was such a riot to be with. I mean, really, come on. And then Lianne, the most talented, adventurous, stubborn Fournier of them all. I think she was more stubborn than Papa, who died of Parkinson's on his own unique way. Lucky guy. You two were really enjoying your life, and you have Richard, and you both work so hard to live in the moment, and voila, it all goes poof. Like, I mean, come on, fudgicle buster. Tout doit sur terre mourir un jour. All on this earth dies one day. Well, I'm still not impressed. Oh, I skipped something. Comme j'ai dit tantôt, tu es ma petite sœur. I have admired how you lived according to your convictions. You have seized every moment, persevered through some pretty tough and tricky times. You explored the world, your options and talents. And I cannot get over your abilities. Skilled vocalist, pianist, not bad guitarist, and other instruments, including a fiddle. Outstanding composer and arranger. Teacher, poet, visual artist, and visionary. I know how hard it was for you to decide for no treatment and accept your fate. We're known as a family for our brutal honesty. Very brutal. I appreciated yours during this difficult time. Well, sometimes. Sometimes I didn't. You did it all on your own terms, despite how hard that was for me to watch. And I know you were afraid of the pain. And I know, unfortunately, you did suffer. You spent your life trying to grasp the spiritual meaning of it all. And I hope that now that after your time on this earth has come, you have the joy and peace that you have been searching and working for all these years. Je t'aime, and I miss you very much. Oh, here's Joss. You know everybody in the room, Joss. Almost everybody.
Je vais parler plutôt en français, because there's lots of English later. Un gros merci à Richard et à Lucille d'avoir organisé cette fête pour Lianne. Thank you, Richard and Lucille, for this party, because that's what Lianne wants.
Lift your mic up, Joss.
Lianne, épouse, fille de Paul et Marie, sœur, cousine, tante, amie, musicienne, enseignante. Get away from me. Une vie trop courte. Une vie trop courte. Elle n'a pas eu la chance de continuer à s'épanouir. La perte d'une vie, la perte d'une personne comme Lianne est difficile à comprendre et à endurer. La question pourquoi n'est jamais répondue. C'est en offrant la consolation avec les membres de la famille, des amis, de la communauté qu'on est capable d'endurer puis de continuer. Sans vous, les familles, les amis, on n'est rien et on peut ne rien faire. On ne peut pas endurer. On vous remercie tous pour votre encouragement et pour d'être venus ici. I know everyone's not here, and I can only thank who's here and who's with our hearts. But without your support, as family, friends, and whatever else you want to be with Lianne, none of us can survive. And none of you will survive your losses without your family and friends. N'ayez pas peur de pleurer et parler à propos de vos amis, vos frères, vos sœurs, vos pères, vos mères. Don't be afraid to cry and talk about these people, because it's the way they stay in your hearts and they stay alive. I want to finish with a rough quotation from my husband. A long time ago, he had said, when his brother passed away. Family was coming over with food and whatever else they could offer. And I think that people just dropping in and saying, we're sorry, here's a hug, or whatever, is the most important thing to start your grieving process and getting over this. He said, having the family come over was like a large fluffy blanket, giving comfort and warmth. Family and friends, you're my biggest blanket ever. Merci d'être venu, thank you. Lianne, I just wanted to say that I didn't want to talk too much about Lianne because it hurts, but I wanted to let you guys know that she knows you're here. So do all the other ancestors, as Lucille likes to call them. And remember, you are your blanket, and be warmth and happiness for everybody else. Merci.
So I invite Carolyn and Sam. Carolyn's going to play a little Bach piece for us. Yeah, it's now. Yeah, I forgot to. The program's there. The Bach piece is. We took piano lessons all at the same time. Well, I can do that. Okay. So we took piano lessons, all three girls at the same time from the same piano teacher, and he also taught my daughter, Ken Adams. And Ken, yeah, yay! I went to see him. He sent us a card and everything. He's a sweet man. Anyway, so he decided that we needed to challenge me and Lianne, which is like, no, I don't need a challenge. And Lianne really loved Bach. I really hated playing Bach. I like listening to Bach, but I can't stand playing Bach. I can't. My brain doesn't focus enough. And so he made us play this invention number 8, and we'd play it double-handed. So, and because he knew my weakness was the bass clef, so he made me, do the bass and Lianne do the top. And she would always start too fast, and we always make the mistake. It was like da 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 da, that Bugs Bunny tune, that Bugs Bunny, the Roadrunner always gets wrong. Well, I would be the little, and she'd be like, you keep screwing up the same spot. And then, yeah, I know. And it never got better. But we played it, and we had, it was always, and what would happen to me in front of people, my hands would become noodles, right? And eventually it'd just be like, but not Lianne. She would just like, we're going to do it. So I asked Karen, she said, do you want to play it with, am I playing it alone? Am I playing with you? I'm like, no, you're not playing it with me. So Carolyn is such a great player, and so she's going to play this invention that we used to play.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Fournier. Carolyn Dasha. What are you going to play for us, Sam?
This is Après un rêve by Gabrielle Fournier.
Après un rêve by Gabrielle Fournier. Featuring Samuel Fournier and Carolyn Basha.
So now we're going to ask, that was the siblings part of Lianne. So I'm going to ask my nephews and nieces now. You're up. You're up, guys. Lianne adored her nephews and nieces. She had no children, so she really adored them. And she was rough on them, but she was good. But adored them for sure. Take my...
How?
Sure.
I think it's the perfect height for
Jesus. Hello? Thank you. Okay, we're the nieces and nephews. It's a starting band. We're working on it. This is Emilia, my sister. Roxanne, my cousin. I don't know why I'm central here, but Colin, Savannah, Zoe, Sam, Keita, Cullif, Lilo,
And you?
and Maura.
We're all just some people's kids. You don't need to know whose kids.
We do that after.
I'm going to read a poem or something that I wrote, and so Roxanne's going to read something that Savannah wrote, because we're all going to stand here together because we're each other's blankets. A year ago-ish, I guess, just about, Millie and I went to visit Lianne, and when I got home, I had a very hard time. I didn't feel very strong, so I asked for something. So... okay. I don't believe in God or prayer, but I do believe in trees and rivers and rocks and animals. So I look to these strengths and these wonders to ask, can you carry me? Could you hold Lianne closely? Could you tell the wind to whisper something sweet? And could you ask the birds to sing? And could you let the trees remind her of her brothers and sisters who would hold the weight of the world for her? Could you let the rocks remind her of Richard? And could you let the sun and the moon remind her of her own resilience? I won't pray, but I will beg to let the northern lights dance and the sky to burn and to send fire for warmth until she can be held. Love to you always. Just a small ask.
Oh no.
What's going on up there?
I'm not a music major, okay? I'm a theater major. The mics are done for me.
Good thing.
Janine? Cousins? Thank you. Yeah. There's an effort. Thank you, that's out. Thank you, Sam. I'm Roxanne, I'm Jocelyn's youngest daughter. I don't know why I did quotes. I'm going to read something from Savannah, Jocelyn's oldest daughter. But first, I'd just like to say a few things for myself. I didn't always have the easiest relationship with Lianne. It didn't come easy, and like it did for, my sister. They were very close, and I was kind of jealous of that. I don't know if it's because we were too the same or too different, but it wasn't easy, whatever. But I always cherished her, and I was really proud of her and really excited that she was my aunt, because I could carry around her cassette tape when I was little and say, this is my aunt. She's famous because she has a cassette tape with her face on it. And in the last few years, big changes in my life. I met the love of my life, and I got married, and the one thing she said at my wedding was, she put me in a big hug and she said, I love you, right? And it was an actual question, like she had to ask me. And yes, I obviously knew that, and I put up a lot of walls with a lot of people, and I'm sorry. And when she got her diagnosis, we talked on the phone for it was like an hour, if not more, and we just had this really beautiful conversation. And at the end, she said, "You know, I love you, right? And I will always know that you love me, and I hope that you knew that I loved you too." So now I'm going to read something that my sister wrote. It's a poem. It's called "Holding Your Hand." I was sitting in my yard last June when my dad called. He said you had cancer. I spoke to you within the hour. You were so sad and scared, yet you comforted me. When I visited you soon after, you were frail and needed my help to sit and stand. We sat in your yard and we watched the birds fly freely by. You held my hand and asked, "Will this be my last summer?" I never imagined it would be. You were too young, too talented, too strong. But cancer cares for no one. It only destroys. Cancer destroyed you before my eyes. Over the summer, I held your hand as much as you would let me. The last time I did, you looked into my eyes and said, "This is it, sweetie. This is the end. I can feel it." I shook my head and dismissed your truth. I said, "No, this won't be the last time I hold your hand." But it was. Now, a year later, I sit in my yard and I watch the birds fly freely by. I hear their song, the rhythm of the leaves, and the rustling of the wind. I hear you all around me. I reach for your hand, knowing you're always holding it. Until we meet again, my sweet auntie chicken. Je t'aime, Savannah. Oh, we're done. Okay. I'm a grown woman. Yeah.
Do you want this? You can see there's boxes up here, right?
Yeah. It's funny, I thought I wasn't gonna cry.
Oh yeah.
How do I adjust this?
Oh my God, they should offer classes in kindergarten for this kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. Okay. Hi, my name is Keita. I'm Lucille's daughter, Lianne's niece. And I'm gonna sing a song. But before, I did want to say a couple words about Lianne. Yeah, I wasn't super close to her either. Woo.
You got it, girl.
But the older I got, and even after she's passed, the more I've learned about her. She was really cool, and we're a lot more alike than I realized growing up. And yeah, there's a lot of things about her that I've realized I strive for. Her sense of adventure and the way she just did what she wanted and didn't care what anyone thought. At least it seemed like she didn't. And yeah, I strive to be able to do that, to do what I want and to not care, or at least try not to. Yeah, so I was originally gonna play a song on the piano, but I can't right now. So Gilles and the rest of the band very graciously said they would accompany me. So I've decided last night that I'm going to be singing Lianne's song, There's Still Time, which she wrote for Rob and sang at his funeral. And it seems fitting since Rob's birthday would have been yesterday. He would have been 63. Yeah, so hopefully I don't cry throughout the song. Take my hand, I understand. Don't be afraid, I'm here for you. Let's take a walk, we'll have a talk, we'll look around, we'll hum a tune. There's still time to change and say I love you more than words can say. Open your heart, seize the Don't run away, I'll be your friend, you're not alone. Say anything, I'm listening. I feel your love, I see your pain. In darkest nights, I'll be your light. A warm embrace to fill our hearts. Don't hesitate. There's still time to Thank you. Je t'aime, Lianne.
So that's Lianne is the auntie. Lianne is the cousin of the dragons here, and is Susie Cartier here too? Susie here? You got a story? Where's Susie? Is she here? Oh, Colin! Oh, mais bon, t'es quand même les dragons, là. So the dragons, Lianne was born in 1964, and according to the Chinese, I guess, calendar, what zodiac, she was a dragon. And we had a number of cousins born in 1964. Diane, Christine, Susie Gendron, Lianne, and not Susie Carmier. Susie Carmier is a honorary dragon. She says, no, I'm not, but she is. I think she is. But if she... Well, Susie Gendron and Lianne.
Enter the dragon!
Tu commences? Non, c'est correct. Yeah. Okay, ben, first of all, thank you, Lucille, Jocelyn, and Gilles, for giving us this honor of speaking today to pay tribute to our dear cousin, our fellow dragon, Lianne. So, first of all, we're going to talk for Susie. Susie sent us her blurb, and we really miss her. So I'm going to start, and Kristen's going to do the second part. And I want you all to imagine that we're like this bouncy, cheerful, very always made up, wearing a little bit of jewelry, beautiful smile, a girl who loved to. Well, okay, we're Susie. Okay, for the moment. All right. So, as I'm Susie right now, as Lianne would say. Hi, my little chickens, or greeting, my little earthlings. So sorry I could not be here today, but rest assured with all sincerity that I'm with you all, and Lianne, in spirit, soul, and heart. Not sure if you all know what the term dragon ladies actually means. Lianne, Diane, Christine, and I were all born in 1964. In Chinese astrology, 1964 represents the year of the dragon. Hence, we started referring to ourselves as the dragons. I believe Christine started that clever group nickname and christened us accordingly. Lianne was our dragon leader. Diane, the food, drink, and conversation giver. Christine, our let's have a laugh, generous provider. And I, whenever I was in town, would try and get us together as the dragon meeting organizer starter. There's so much to say. I will try my best to keep this brief and not so flowery. However, that's just the way I am. And when it comes to expressing myself a little too lengthy and sentimental, Lianne would just say, "Go ahead, girl, let your hair down, let yourself go." I guess that's why we got along so well. Lianne truly knew how to be expressive with no inhibitions. Here's the rank by birth. Diane, the oldest person in her family. Christine, smack dab in the middle of her family. Lianne and I, in the last of the family order, the babies of the family. Us dragons had an incredible bond due to growing up together. That is when all became close friends. Always there was song, dance, playing all kinds of interesting games. How many times on Erie Bay? What are we supposed to do? Ooh. And we let ourselves really be free and letting our mini creative minds go rampant. Like, for example, the many seances we orchestrated in the basement, reviving the ghost of Mrs. So-and-so. Was that Mrs. Nesbitt? Who lived across the street from the Fourniers? Justin gets it. On weekends, we were having sleepovers. We compete on how long we could stay up at night. So I guess that was really more like a sleep under. So whacked and giddy in the wee hours of the morning. Now, just to speak a little bit more about my bond with Lianne, in our early teens, Lianne and I would retreat to the basement and play Robert's incredible array of record albums. We would dance all day, sing and act out to the words of Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, or our favorite Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. We created mimes and actions to the songs, running around, dancing and twirling in that huge basement. This always left us laughing to tears. Gotta thank Jocelyn for teaching us how to mime. Ha ha. I have to mention Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare certainly set the stage for freeing our imaginations in dance. This is still Susie talking.
Different face. Then, not so many years later, in our late teens, Lianne and I decided it was time to stretch our wings and flee the comfort of our family coops to become bigger chicks. We found our first apartment on the corner of Broadway and Hargrave. We laughed so hard the first day we moved in, since we never noticed all the cracks in the walls, cleaning all the scum and crud. At night, the silverfish, they were like little cockroaches, would come out and scurry about. The first night, or rather in the middle of the early morning, the fire alarm went off since there was a fire in the big BFI bin next door at the apartment building. As Betty Davis would say, what a dump. The apartment was called the Athol Apartments? Athol? I don't know. But we gave it its proper name, the Asshole Apartments. A real shithole. The only really good thing about that apartment was we felt we were so cosmopolitan, living in a semi-Greenwich Village or Soho in New York. Such romantic minds we had, with a few nice posters and much hand-me-down, mismatched furniture. It was a haven on earth to us. Then, after that time, Lianne asked me to go to Europe with her. I really wanted to go, but was not quite ready in my life for it. I decided to try university out instead. That must have been fun. Lianne was incredibly brave, strong-willed, and determined, so off she went. But somehow, she managed to take the time and write me these wonderful descriptive letters. Kids, this was way before the internet. In ancient times, when we were young adults, writing letters was a romantic and creative way to correspond, the only way to correspond, unless you could afford the phone bills. So she would write to me from all parts of Europe, India, and Nepal. When I received them, I would sit in silence at a place at the U of M hall and stare at this big map of the world, locate where her letter was written, and would wonder, wow, this is where she is now. She and I were always connected somehow, even at times worlds apart. We would meet up unplanned in the strangest places. One time was in Thunder Bay. I was sitting in this big hotel restaurant with some out-of-town co-workers, and boom, there she was, walking in. Both our mouths dropped. At that time, she was busy on tour with the Weird Sisters, and yes, that was weird. So many times these fateful encounters would occur. Always we would get together and talk till the wee hours of the morning, a la Erie Bay sleepovers. Dum, dum, dum. Close encounter cousins, for sure. Even if we did not see each other for a while, somehow it was just like yesterday. We had so much to talk about. Deep, real tête-à-tête. Later, as the years developed, a ritual came into play. The meeting of the dragon ladies would ensue. We are connecting wonders of life that kept us a foursome forever, both in heaven and earth. Lianne was so fortunate to have such a talented, interesting, and intelligent family. She would not have been the wonderful person that she was if it wasn't for them. I believe Lianne had two real, personal, intimate loves of her life. Number one was her Minu poo-poo head. And of course, number two, or actually probably number one, was her sweet husband, Richard. Yeah, life is a bird song, Marlon Brando once said. And just to twist that quote a bit, Lianne was a songbird of life. Avec amour, con amor, with love, Susie.
So now I'm going to speak like moi, Diane. So for those of you who don't know me, allow me to introduce myself. Je suis Diane, the cousin from Saskatchewan. Woo! The oldest dragon by 12 days, and as you all heard, the stealer of Lianne's name. Even though I grew up far away from my many cousins, the extended Fournier family was a big influence on me, a testament to the love and dedication that the many Fournier siblings, like there was 14 of them, good grief, 12 surviving into adulthood, and it amazed me how they would pay attention to each other's birthdays and socialize together and still choose to be together. Yeah, amazing. So it's a love and dedication the Fournier siblings display to each other. When we were teenagers and my family would take the yearly trip to Winnipeg, Lianne took me under her wing. She included me in the cousins' shenanigans and let me in on the inside jokes. There were a few. And as Susie mentioned, there were hangouts in the basement on Erie Bay. Thank you. Seances. I even remember taking out the Ouija board once. That was amazing. Yeah. And talk about boys and crushes, of course, and it was just all-out teenager fun. Then, when I returned to Merrifield, Saskatchewan, we kept in touch by writing letters. I got to hear about her travels, her loves, her trials and tribulations, her successes. I was so proud of Lianne. When I married in 1984, no question as to who I would have sing at my wedding. Of course, my cousin Lianne. I would boast to anybody who would listen about my cousin Lianne. She's a jazz singer, you know. She has her own group, the Trivocals. Oh, yeah. And, she sings with the Weird Sisters. Oh, can you believe those harmonies? She's the one that wrote them, I'm sure. Lianne has released a CD, The Gift. And what a gift it was. And of course, whenever I could, I would attend her gigs. I surely appreciate her talent, but unfortunately, I didn't get any of that. Our lives took very different paths, but we always kept in touch. And over the last few years, when we were able to do our dragon get-togethers, it was a highlight. It was always good food, good laughs, good company. It is incredible to me that Lianne is no longer with us. She was taken too soon. That being said, it is undeniable that in her short life, Lianne touched many lives. She was intense. Her eyes, her convictions, her emotions. She was funny. She was witty, quick on her feet. She would even do stand-up comedy. I'm so glad that Lianne found Richard. She was so friggin' happy. It was amazing, like the change in her. It seemed so unfair that she was denied growing old with the one she loved. We all know how Lianne felt about all that Jesus stuff, but we also know that she was a very spiritual person. She loved nature, and she was at peace near a lake, listening to the loons, looking into the night sky. So I take solace in every beautiful sunset, every crackling campfire, every spectacular field of sunflowers, in all of nature's miracles, because Lianne's spirit is there. I miss her so much here on earth, but in my heart, I feel her presence, and for that I take solace. For Lianne, you left us too soon. I miss you, and I love you.
Hello, bonjour. I'm the only dragon whose name doesn't rhyme. Diane, Lianne, Suzanne, and Christine. The oddball of the gang. But hey, wait a minute. I think we're all pretty much oddballs. I'm just kidding. Well, I say that with love. But I am the youngest. Still only 49. Okay, 57. We all know you math buffs out there. No, it doesn't add up. So, Lianne was more than a cousine to me. She was a friend, a sister, and much more than that, a soul sister. In a way, we were linked by more than just blood. Although we never wrote letters to each other, I don't remember exchanging letters with her, we had our own special bond, and of course, as all of you do. But I'm telling this here story. And so when Lianne was born, that story was already told, but my mom, Yvonne, took care of her for a few weeks while her mom, Marie, was in the hospital for her gallbladder. And Lianne would say that as my mom held her in her arms, I was just a little budding fetus. And that was the beginning of our bond together. Ever since I could remember, she was always taking care of me. Lianne, the outgoing city girl, and me, the shy country bumpkin. I learned a lot of things from her and was already amazed by what she knew, how her extroverted, beautiful personality, already so free and fearless. Often in the summer, Mom and Dad would dump us off at the Fourniers on Erie Bay. Dum, dum, dum. And Lianne and fam would be stuck entertaining and feeding us. Anyone who knew me as a kid knew that I was particular when it came to food. Yeah, that means I was really picky. Lianne found some mushrooms in the fridge. I mean, I knew I liked raw mushrooms, okay, but she wanted to fry them up. So she put tons of butter, some salt, some herbs. It smelled delightful, but then it came down to the crunch, the taste test. And oh my goodness, my first fried mushrooms, it was delicious, of course. So who knew? Fried mushrooms. It was such a concept to me. On one particularly sweltering day when we were at Lianne's and Fam's place, we all went to Safeway and bought a huge gallon of ice cream. And we went back and everyone took a spoon. And we ate the whole freaking thing. Straight from the pail. No bowls, nothing. I'd never done that before. Oh, what mischief. We were always laughing to tears.
Was that 4 liters of ice cream?
Yes. Yeah. Well, a bit more than 4 liters because a gallon is more than a liter, I think, right? A pail.
Thank you.
Yeah, some of you were there, right? Lucille, Jocelyn, I think. Yeah. I don't know where you were, Gilles. Did you partake?
Nowhere near that ice cream.
Oh, too bad. We ate. So yeah, laughing to tears more times than I can remember with Lianne, Lucille, and the rest. And of course, I cannot forget also, I have to mention those famous seances in the basement. They scared the shit out of me, and I loved the thrill of it. As we were relatives from both sides, that meant we had the same relatives and went to many of the same family parties, family reunions, and so on. I remember Lianne walking in, because at one point when, as young adults, because we would always, Christmas time, the night before, the day of Christmas, and Boxing Day would always be at someone's place, and she'd always come a little late and say, "Where's the food?" That's my favorite.
Still does.
Yeah. Where's the food? You're probably all wondering where the food is. I know I have 2 more pages, but Lianne never let me speak on stage, so. Je prends ma place. Our families went on trips to Bemidji, Fraser Lake, Willow Bunch, Saskatchewan, St. Malo, lots of picnics. We spent our time exploring, swimming, always hours in the water, laughing together, those campfires, singing together, and tanning. Oh my goodness. This was when the sun was harmless, right? We'd lay around in the sun for hours, made sure we were nice and burnt, turned around, toasty, and then came the applying of the Noxzema. At least 3 or 4 times a night, because that Noxzema doesn't do shit. In grade 11 and 12 at the collège, when we finally left hell and moved to civilization, Winnipeg, Lianne, again, took me under her wing. She showed me around, guided me, and made sure I wasn't alone for the first few weeks, probably months. We played volleyball together, soccer. We played doubles and badminton in grade 11. And in grade 12, we even composed and performed a song for Le Déjeuner aux crêpes durant le festival. I still remember most of those lyrics. It was a big hit. Lianne coordinated all the boîtes à chansons when I was there in grade 11 and 12 and came up with awesome songs that we could perform and arrange harmonies for certain songs. Already a musical director. When I lived in BC, Lianne would look me up and invite me to her Weird Sisters concerts, gave me albums that I would listen to over and over and over and over again until I knew every single lyric by heart. Their harmonies were incredible, especially because they were Lianne's arrangements. She had such talent. At some point, Lianne introduced a few songs she had written. To my amazement, they talked about love. What? Love? Lianne? What the heck? Songs of love. What's love got to do with it? Well, and since when does Lianne sing of love? It obviously wasn't because of Jesus. But Lianne had certainly changed, and it was an empowering one. I think those songs opened the door for her true love, Richard. My jaw dropped when I heard Richard was actually moving in. Well, this had to be the guy. And then Lianne actually got married. Never have I seen Lianne as happy and as fulfilled as when she found you, Richard. I don't know where you are, but thank you for coming into her life and taking such good care of her. I must say that some of my greatest moments with Lianne were when she asked me to sing, and Jeanette, me and my sister Jeanette, to sing along with her. I loved all the tunes she brought forth, her amazing compositions, as well as the songs that she arranged. The harmonies were challenging and beautiful. Lianne was exacting and knew exactly what she wanted to hear, and we would practice a piece, or even a piece of a piece, until we would get it right. She made sure the finished product was something that we could all be proud of. I was especially honored when Lianne asked Jeanette and me to do backup vocals on her album, The Gift. I had never done that before, and it was such a beautiful experience. I will always cherish those moments. I must add a quick word about her parties. It was guaranteed a good time, which, as a side note, I find is a standard at all Fournier parties. Because for me, anyway, I always have a good time at them. I saw another side of Lianne, serving up hors d'oeuvres, les hors d'oeuvres, tea, whatever you like. Lianne took care of her guests and had a way to make everyone attending her parties feel special. There would always be music. They'd be taking turns on the piano with Lianne first and last on the piano. Awesome jazz sessions that got everyone singing. Everyone left with a smile on their face and a song in their heart. Lianne and her siblings had this thing of finding links between relatives. This person was a second cousin. Oh, that one is a third cousin, twice removed. The original LinkedIn. It was Lianne that remarked that, hey, there are 4 of us that were born in the same year. Did you know that? There's 4 of us, all Lianne, Deanne, Suzanne, and you were, 1964. So I was an astrology nut then, and I said, hey, we're all born the year of the dragon, and hence we dubbed ourselves the Dragons, the Dragon Ladies, the Dragoons. I think Susie came up with that one. Not sure if it was Lianne who came up with the idea of us all getting together, but we did so whenever the 4 of us were in town. I was always fascinated listening to each other's life stories, our struggles, our successes, our hopes and dreams. It was such a privilege to be a part of each other's lives like that and to see how far we've come and how much we've grown. It was an amazing bond we shared. And although we did not see each other every single year, each time we'd naturally pick up where we left off, our bond transcending time and space. And Lianne, what the heck? The first of our dragons has been laid to rest, a most extraordinary, vibrant woman whose smile, incredible talent, generosity, I could go on and on and on because there's so many wonderful things to say about her. And her beautiful spirit will always be with me in my heart. Lianne, thank you for taking such good care of me all these years. I miss you, and I love you dearly.
And then the tuner song. Well, Susie, are you going to speak? If you want. Do you want to come up? Oh, that's good. 2 minutes? So Susie's not going to tell her story. She'll tell it a little bit later because I think our caterers are a little bit worried. I guess we're taking a bit of time here, so we're going to move it a little bit. What we might do, Richard, if that's okay with you, is while the video is playing, they're going to serve the food. I think that's what we'll do. I hope that it doesn't disrupt everyone. So Jill and them, they're going to play Gone, and Jill's going to explain, because I don't know.
There's also the speaker. You can just. Okay. If you have thoughts and things to say about Lianne, we could do it during the jam part after dinner. I think that would work out well, so we can get to Eton fairly soon, because Lianne would want this. Would want that. Oh yeah. And for the jam part, there's a blue piece of paper on a stool just where this finger is pointing. I'm pointing with this finger at that finger to point at the jam sign-up sheet. Put your name down there so that we don't forget who we can get up here, and we'll fix up configurations, and it will go. The flow will be quite easy going and bed efficient. So, long story short, please, we have Amber Epp right here. Beautiful and talented, generous person. Sam Fournier on bass, me playing this thing on bass, and we're going to do a tune that I wrote called Gone. Lyrics written by Margaret Sweatman. Amber's going to do her interpretation of it, and we're going to play along.
Great.
Do not tremble, my silent one. Do not sorrow when darkness comes, when the wind moves through the trees and the leaves call out your name. Don't be sorry, my lonely child, when you awaken and I am gone. You will know that you are mine when you hear the evening song. And in the dawn of day, a trace of night will stay. In the shade you sleep, dreaming of peace. Keep you safe in the light of the sun. Though I've gone by my song, you know I leave my love with you. So do not quarrel, my quiet child, when in the silence you hear a song that tells the night that you are mine through the years when I am gone. for Sam and Gilles on the bass. Do not tremble, my silent one. Do not sorrow when darkness comes. When the wind moves through the trees and the leaves call out your name. And don't be sorry, my lonely child, when you awaken and I am gone. You will know that you are mine when you hear the evening song. And in the dawn of day, a trace of night will stay. In the shade you sleep, dreaming of peace, keep you safe. In the light and the sun, though I've gone by my song, you know I leave my love with you. So do not sorrow, my quiet child, when in the silence you hear a song that tells the night that you are mine through the years when I am gone. Through the years when I am gone. Through the years when I am gone. Gone, written by Lianne Fournier. Thank you, merci.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lianne Fournier.
So, are we showing this video for Rachel, or shall we show from Rachel? Okay, we'll show that later. So normally I would have had the friends come up, but a lot of the friends were ill. They couldn't make it here. So we're just going to ask Richard to come up. And during the jam session, we have a few videos from Rachel Moody. Well, we got one from Rachel Moody, who's a friend, obviously. And we're going to have Richard. So everyone, here is Lianne's lovely darling and my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law. Mine. Lianne's husband, Richard.
So do you want to let it be?
No, let's do it.
Oh, okay.
We're going to do that, and we're going to keep.
All right. So how many Fourniers does it take to adjust the mic stand? All of them. I am overwhelmed.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Yeah. I am overwhelmed with the outpouring of love for Lianne. Yeah, I was told that if I kind of lose it, to do the big breath, and that's supposed to reset you, and you can talk a little bit more. And Jocelyn knows, yeah. But it's an honor to be here and see everybody in the family. The last part there, we had some people there who were kind of having their own conversation and going on there and having their own party while there was people out here pouring their hearts out. Reminded me a little bit of Lianne's CD release party. Okay, so there were some people that were here. You know, there's so many people who were there, and it was such an important event to Lianne because she did a lot of work to, work on this CD for years and years. And she literally went while people were talking, "Shut up back there. There's good music going on here. Can't you listen to it?" That's the kind of woman she was, that she just poured it out. And she knew what was important and what wasn't important. And she would call what wasn't important small talk. And she had no qualm whatsoever of saying, I don't have any time for small talk, and just walk away from people. She knew what was important to spend her life on and do it. I'd known Lianne since about 1999, and we were finally married on March 12th of 2021. We put it off for 3 years because she was a school teacher, and March 12th was a significant date to us, and that's the date that I declared my love to her. And she accepted it. And so, but there was this jazz concert or jazz choir competition that would go on in Brandon that weekend. So it didn't happen till finally COVID happened. So I was glad that COVID, finally we could pull that off, although there was, almost nobody there, all right, but we still did it. But she was a strong woman, very creative woman. She was actually a very complex woman. A lot of people didn't know everything that went on with her. A lot of it was out in social. And at the party, she was always the life of the party. She always came up with great ideas. We knew who she was as a musician, very creative. Thank goodness she recorded that album, The Gift, and did a lot of other audio recordings. Yeah. And I was delighted that she did as many videos as she did, so we can go and visit and see her at any time we want. Go to YouTube and search for Lianne Fournier. If you haven't seen them, there's quite a bit of material up there that I'm sure you would enjoy having a look at that. And strong, for her to, in midlife, after having the career that she did and exploring the music, to then go and go back and get her teaching certificate. Excuse me. What a lot of guts that took to put that together. But that's what she was like. She'd set her eyes on something and she would just go ahead and go ahead and do it. And she was my soulmate. Those of you who are not married now, I hope you find your soulmate, because they're probably out there, and you'll know when you find them. And I was so fortunate to have those 5 years where we were together in a serious relationship. And I enjoyed it just as much as could be. She, as you heard, enjoyed nature. Every opportunity we had every weekend, we would go out and we would walk. 40 below, that's fine. We would just dress for it. We always like the expression, there's no such thing as too cold weather, just bad clothing choices. We just have to dress up for it. And those of you who her passing was a big shock to you, I apologize to you for that. But when we finally got the diagnosis that it was going to be terminal, which happened in early June, well, actually I got the diagnosis in early July, but it was early June when they figured out that it was cancer that was going on there. She only wanted her immediate family and her really close friends to know about that. So those of you who are not in that category, don't feel bad that you didn't hear about it. That was Lianne's wish. She didn't want, people to be coming and dumping their grief on her, because we were dealing with our own grief as it was and just couldn't, do anything further with that. So she went way too soon. She went way too quickly. Thank goodness she left a good legacy behind for us. And in those last days that we had before she passed, she was very adamant about, what do you want to do for a funeral or get together or something? Well, I want a big party with lots of food and no Jesus. That was her wish. She had a few bad experiences with clergy and other familial funerals that went on. So we think we did that for her. On June the 4th, we did the party that was spoken about earlier. We had about 150 people out for that one. Looks like we have about 150 people out for this one. So incredible person that has so many people loved her, appreciated her, and wanted to come and honor her for this kind of a party. So we are having that party going on. I'm so glad you could all come. I'm just kind of torn apart after all the emotion that went on here today. I'm amazed I can still talk. But thank you all for coming. And are we going to do?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to do a couple of two last songs, and then I guess the caterers are ready to go. In December of 21, Lucille, who's been just fantastic throughout this, and I've grown. I've grown pretty close to her, and she's kind of a replacement for me. So on December, we wanted to, Lucille put together a Zoom call. How many people have been on Zoom calls here? It's been a lot of them going on there. And so we wanted some music, so I thought I'd do this Let It Be song, which is a nice song. And then after that, we're going to do Love Will Never Let You Down, which is kind of an anthem that I think that she wrote that I hope will really take off someday. So...
Anybody who was in any choir scenario with Lianne, or who knows, the words to Let It Be, you can crawl up here and sing along. Just gather around a mic and use common sense. If it's too full up here, if that happens, then sing from the table. But either way, sing along, please, on the next two tunes that are coming up.
Sing from where you are.
Yeah, you can do that. And if you're a pretty confident singer, then come up here and sing. If you're drunk and confident, that's a different thing.
Yeah, she's gonna come. Kristen, you gotta come up here. There we go. This is good. Get Richard. Here, they can use this one too.
Lianne Fournier to help you out there, Richard.
Yeah.
I think we got it.
Yeah, over here. Grab this one. Grab this one. Grab this one. Come this way. Oh, you're okay. There you go.
Of course he did.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Get right in there. Yeah. You ready? Okay.
Times of trouble, Mother Mary calls to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, there is still light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be.
Here we go, some odds.
Well, let it be. Let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. When all the broken hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. Although they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see there will be an answer. Let it be. Well, let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. There will be an answer. Let it be. There is still light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I'll wake up to the sound of music. Lovely Lianne sings to me. There will be no sorrow, let it be. Well, let it be, let it be. Let it be, let it be. There will be no sorrow, let it be. Well, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be.
Yeah, stay here, stay here, stay here. We need backup things for this one.
Everybody's a cricket.
Okay, this is the last song, and then we're gonna eat. Yay, eat. This is Lianne's song, Love Will Never Let You Down. Beautiful song. If you know the lyrics, sing along. Dance if you have lighters or virtual lighters, put them up. Not that we, yeah, well, there you go. There's some folks, there they go. They're putting up that, okay. I feel like I'm in a stadium right now.
Come and do backup.
All right, we're going to do a song that Lianne wrote. It's called Love Will Never Let You Down. If you know this song or you like singing ahs and oohs, you can come up. You're invited. Please. They would like some help. So if you're like, should I, shouldn't I, come on up.
Do it.
I'm singing back up too.
Come on up.
Can I steer the first chord? Oh, la ligne note. Everybody ready? Yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sometimes the heart is full of sorrow. Sometimes you need a helping hand. Sometimes we try to be the hero. Sometimes we just don't understand. But in the midst of all the suffering, we can lift our spirits high with kindness and compassion. We can certainly get by. It's all about love, 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 love. friendship falls apart. Sometimes a stranger's more forgiving. And when it's time to work it out, someone you love will come and help you touch your heart once more. It's all about love, 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 love. Love always wins out. It's all about love, love, love will never let you down. Sometimes you lose the ones you love. Sometimes the tears are never ending. Yes, you will hold them in your heart. You'll keep on living through the pain. Find your way back home. Yes, it's all about love, love, love. Hey. Love, 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 love. Love always wins out. It's all about love, love, love will never let you down. Thank you.
What, yep, oh. Yeah, what, whoa. All right. Bit more vocal. Hey, whoa. Yeah, yo, whoa. How. If there's a weakest link, I'm gonna find it. Give me a wind-up toy, I'll overwind it. If it ain't broke, I'll fix it. Everyone agrees, I'll nix it. If it's stuck, I'll force it. No one likes it, I'll endorse it. I'm breaking stuff.
Breaking stuff!
Clearing the table after we dine. If it wasn't for gravity, I'd be fine. A box marked fragile, and I'm the carrier, like Chuck Yeager did, to the sound barrier. How much can I carry? The results vary. I'm breaking stuff.
I'm breaking stuff!
I'll break it for gratis. I'll overestimate the tensile strength of any apparatus. You make it, I'll break it. It's a trait that I envelop. Last time I rode a horse, it broke into a gallop. New pair of shoes I'm breaking in. Even my patience wearing thin. I'm breaking stuff. Break a habit, breaking through. Here's a joke. I tell you. Shoelaces, I'm breaking plenty. You need change? I'll break a 20. Break the silence, break the news. Here's a tip, invest in blues. I'm breaking stuff.
He's breaking stuff.
I'm breaking stuff.
Breaking stuff.
I'm breaking stuff.
He's breaking stuff.
I'm breaking stuff.
He's breaking stuff.
I'm breaking stuff.
He's breaking stuff.
I'm breaking stuff.
Breaking stuff.
I'm breaking stuff. Wow, yeah, wow, breaking stuff.
He's breaking stuff.
I'm breaking stuff.
Al Simmons, ladies and gentlemen. Girls, if you invite him.
And it's a swingy little number.
Give me red lipstick and a poppy red rouge, a single bob haircut and a shot of good booze. Hurry home, sweet daddy, and don't you take your time. If you wait too long, mama gonna be gone. Hurry down to the dress shop, get the one that's best, 'cause your own pretty mama, she wants a brand new dress. Hurry home, sweet daddy, and don't you take your time. If you wait too long, mama gonna be gone. you take your time. If you wait too long, mama gonna be gone. Come along, young man. Everything is sitting right. My husband gotta wait till next Saturday night. Sweet daddy, don't you take your time. Wait too long, mama gonna be gone, 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 gone. Rosy red garters. Oh, I got big toes on my feet. My turkey red bloomers got a rumble seat. Hurry home, sweet daddy, don't you take your time. If you wait too long, mama gonna break on a red rooster says. What's he say? Cock-a-doodle-doodly-doo. Rich land woman says any dude will do. Hurry home, sweet daddy, don't you take your time. If you wait too long, mama gonna be gone. Give a hand for the two little boys up front here.
I know, eh? Do another tune. How about shaky ground? Everybody knows that one, right? Yeah, we can trade off.
No, I want to sing shaky ground. I'll play it.
Okay.
Lady luck and four-leaf clover won't ease this hurt I feel all over. My life, been one special occasion till you leave me down in this situation. Standing on shaky ground ever since you put me down. Oh, yeah. Standing on shaky ground ever since you put me down. My car got repossessed this morning. Okay, that was another one of those endings. Do you think he heard? I'm gonna fight them all.
Off to a good start.
I'm gonna fight them all. A 7-nation army couldn't hold me back. I'm gonna lift them up, taking their time right behind my back. And I am talking to myself at night because I can't forget. Back and forth through my mind, behind a cigarette. And the message coming from my eyes says, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Don't wanna hear about it. Every single one's got a story to tell. Everyone knows about it. From the Queen of England to the Hounds of Hell. And if I catch you coming back my way, I'm gonna serve it to you. And that ain't what you're gonna hear, but that's what I'll do. And the feeling coming from my bones says, find a home. Find a home. Find a home. Find a home. And the feeling coming from my bones says, find a home. Find a home. Go back home. Go back home.
Thank you. Okay, hang on. I gotta find. Give me a minute. Sorry, guys. And I'm as blind as a friggin' bat.
Okay, I'm ready. A little song by, well, everybody's done this one. Not me. Not you? Well, there's always a first time. Get ready to shake your hips.
Going around, and everybody's doing it from the grown-ups down. You gotta move your lips, you gotta move your hips, you gotta move your lips, and just shake your hips. Do the hip shake, baby. Do the hip shake, baby. Shake your hips, baby. Your hips, baby. Well, if you don't know, don't you be afraid. Just listen to me and do what I say. You gotta move your head,
shake your hips. Do the hip shake, baby. Do the hip shake, baby. Shake your hip, baby. Shake your hip, baby. Well, ain't that easy now? Well, ain't that easy now? That little girl in this country town, he said, what do you know but the Slim Hopper? You gotta move your hand, you gotta move your hand, you gotta move your lips, just shake your hips. Hip shake, baby. The hip shake, baby. Shake your hip, baby. Shake your hip, baby. The hip shake, baby. The hip shake, baby. Shake your hip, baby. Shake your hip, baby. Well, ain't that easy now? Well, ain't that easy? Thank you. Woo, that was fun. You know, I have to say one thing. Gilles used to be in a band with us, with Mark. And Mark, no, not with Mark. No, he was the replacement for Mark. For Mark. He had a girlfriend. Yeah, he had to leave the band. He had a girlfriend. But Marcel and I and Gilles played when we were, how old were we, Gilles? 15. Yeah. So we've known each other that long. Lots of fun. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
When I was a little bit of baby, my mama would have run. And then, oh, I didn't feel back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana. And then, oh, I didn't feel back home. And then cotton ball get a run, you can't beat every much cotton but my mama would have rocked me in the cradle. And then, oh, cotton field back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana. And then, oh, cotton field back home. When them cotton ball get rotten, you can beat every much cotton in them old cotton field back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana. In them